Rose McGrath. I am being brought to you here on Revolution Radio at www.freedomslips.com. For those of you that have friends or family that want to be able to dial in to listen to this show today, I am on Studio A, as I am every Monday and Tuesday morning. For those of you on the East Coast, it's a little after 12 noon. So we are 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday and Tuesdays in Studio A. And that phone number is 712-432-6958 for you that have family and friends that want to dial in to listen to the show from their landline or from their cell phone. Again, Studio A's phone number is to dial in to listen is 712-432-6958. We also have a phone number to call in if you want to call into the show and ask any questions of myself or today's guest. That number is 347-688-2902. That's 347-688-2902. Or you can go into Skype to call into the show, and that will be in the second hour only. We only do this in the second hour. And that is Freedom Screen, FreedomScreen. Freedom Screen, like the TV screen. Again, that's Foxtrot, Romeo, Echo, Echo, Delta, Oscar, Mike, Sierra, Charlie, Romeo, Echo, Echo, November. Tomorrow night, I will be with you in Studio B. That will be from 10 to midnight Eastern Standard Time in Studio B every Wednesday night. Again, from 10 to midnight Eastern Standard Time, 7 to 9 Pacific. And that one for your friends and family, if you want to write this down, or you can go to the freedomslips.com website, which I would prefer you to do, is that number is 716-748-0112. 716-748-0112, Studio B tomorrow night. It has up above the call-in phone number and the Skype as well. I would like to welcome those of you that are listening to the Concord show for the first time. I'm losing my voice. There's that weird cold that's going around. For those of you that were expecting to have Marine Corps Matt come up today, as you know, he comes up every other Tuesday. He is sick. That weird virus that's going around, well, he was just about over it. And as it has been staying true to course, it came back again. And he is just feeling really under the weather. In about 2 to 3 hours, he has to open up his store anyway if he's going to make a livelihood. So I told him to go back to bed for a couple more hours, and he just might be listening to the show while he's lying there in bed. So he gives his apologies. The topic that we were going to be bringing up today will be for another day. I would like those of you, let's do some housekeeping first. For those of you that don't know, you can go to the chat room, log in there and register for free, and then come up in the chat room and make comments or ask questions. And if I can get to them, I will. I would like to please encourage you to support our sponsors, to patronize them. We have on the webpage all kinds of information on the front home page of Protovite and bullet USB drives, all kinds of information. I also says Mr. Rowe also sent me some files, so I'm going to have to check that up here in a few minutes. I would like to encourage you, please, to support Revolution Radio by going to the archives, $5 a month. You can listen to all the back shows that you want to. It's a great deal, $5 a month. Yes, information is normally out there, put out there free, but if you're not able to listen to the shows live and you want to be able to catch up on one of your favorite hosts, or listen to any back shows from anybody here on Revolution Radio, pay your $5 a month, and you will be able to listen to all the archives. Mr. Rio, who happens to be down in the neck of the woods where I am right now, has just, I guess, sent me some docket numbers. I don't know where he's getting this information. God bless him anyway. But anyway, there is Family Garden for single season. There are Survival Seeds Jumbo Pack. There's a Super Pack Community Garden. And right below the Super Pack Community Garden is Nitehawk's Wood Shop. And you click on there, folks, and you look at the beautiful stuff that he has got. This man is multi-talented. And I myself am thinking about purchasing some of these items for birthday gifts or wedding gifts. You have it. So with that said, I would like for us to be able to go into the chat room and thank Diet Joke. He is there from down under. And we have some other people that are on right now that are tuning in. So I thank all of you for being there in the chat room. I want to bring back up, folks, somebody who's become a very good friend. He has been here as a guest before on Revolution Radio. Thomas, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am, I sure am.
And you're down in Texas, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you know, I had a family member one time that used to run around telling everybody, well, it was the truth, of course, but he was telling everybody that his ex was in Texas. I guess that's a common expression, right?
For some people it is. I haven't had an ex in so long.
Well, I want to thank you for stepping to the plate. I noticed you were in Skype right when I got the phone call from Marine Corps Mac saying that he was going to come up, but he said, I don't want to have to be doing a lot of coughing over the air. And sometimes when that cough comes, you're not able to grab the mic and mute it right away. So I told him if he wasn't feeling good, that he needed to go back to bed because this weird virus, everybody's getting it. And the people.
Speaking of the devil, I've had something for about a week, and I started taking Miracle Mineral Solution right when I started feeling it last week, and I've had a real weird sore throat for about a week, but I haven't been sick. I've been really? Kind of short fused and kind of short with people. And one of my friends noticed the other day, he said, "You've been short here lately." I said, "Yeah, I've been sick, but I've been taking a Miracle Mineral Solution, which you can find on Facebook or on the internet. And this stuff is amazing. I have actually seen miracles from this stuff. So Marine Corps Mac might need to get some of this stuff."
Yeah. My voice itself, I don't know what's been happening the past 2 or 3 years, but my voice seems to be changing. And I'm really having a hard time with this. I mean, I can't even sing anymore. I mean, if you were to hear me sing, you'd be running for them there hills because I can't even sing. My voice is like, I don't know if my voice broke or cracked or something happened, but I've been having a hard time with sometimes even getting words out. And they tell me that this virus actually affects the vocal cords. Now, I haven't gotten this particular virus yet. I did get another one about 2 years ago, and it lasted maybe about a week. But I understand this one can last for months. The people get sick, and they can't shake it for months at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So
this thing seems to get a little bit better with me from time to time, and then it comes right back like, wow, what happened? What's happening here? I never get sick, but anyway, what's going on out there in California? You were telling me something about that a while ago.
Yes, I wanted to share with some of the people I understand were not able to tune in yesterday. So I kind of want to give everybody a heads up of what is going on in this country. And I'm going to get a little bit harsh here. So I want to warn people. Let me see if I got to see this thing that Mr. Rio just sent me. Revolution Radio right now. Okay, Nitehawk just sent a message that he is live streaming the show after the musics are done. He's almost done with John Lamb right now. So I guess John Lamb is streaming what's happening to Nevada. So let me back up a little bit here. Let me see what he's saying. Doing Nevada trial updates will live stream your show after the musics are done. Okay, fine. He's almost done with John Lamb. And then Mr. Rio happens to be not too far away from me. He just sent me the docket text from the District of Oregon regarding Gary Hunt. So let's talk about Gary Hunt, okay? Thomas, Gary Hunt was a man that I met over 1.5 years ago. He's a journalist. He was a Vietnam veteran. He came back from Vietnam, and he went down to Waco, boots on the ground, as a volunteer reporter and a journalist, basically a self-made man. What he saw in Waco absolutely threw him for a loop. And in fact, that's where he met his wife, was down in the Waco area. And they have 2 beautiful daughters, twin girls. And Then he also was there at Ruby Ridge and reporting what he was seeing as a concerned citizen. He came back and went up to Northern California where he bought a house, and he has been writing for over 25 years. He even has a team of people that work with him somewhere on the East Coast that help go over a lot of his files. They correct his spelling and whatever, and they basically help advise him to make sure that his product is a well-rounded product. He is a journalist, just like radio news broadcasters. Like I'm a journalist. I also write, but I'm a journalist. When you're a radio broadcaster, you are a journalist. He is a journalist by the pen, and he has put out some awesome writings over the years. Well, it seems that Judge Brown up in Oregon wants to call him a blogger. She's not giving him any respect as being a journalist. And he has been writing about the Bundy situation since Mauer. He's been writing about the Bundy situation from the very beginning of what happened in the courtroom up in Portland. He has told the truth of what has been going on. He has people that give him information. He doesn't write it down unless it's verifiable, and he can verify all his sources. He has taken information from the last trial last September. He did not write, in his own words, anything that was redacted. There was nothing that was classified. There was nothing that was redacted that he put in his filings, in his postings, in the actual articles that he wrote and put up online on Outpost of Freedom. He put information there that is public record. Now, a lot of it was information that was given to the prosecution and the defense witnesses and their lawyers only. But he was able to get a hold of this information, and he was able to put it up and write stories around what was going on to keep people apprised that we have no more freedom in the courtroom. We have no more freedom outside the courtroom, that all of our rights, God-given rights, have been violated. And it doesn't matter if you're down under in Australia or if you're in Ireland, the United Kingdom, up in Canada. I have friends up there that are listening here, new friends that listen into the Concord show. It doesn't matter what part of the world you're in. But here in the United States of America, if we go down, as they say with the Canadian press, if we go down, they will go down as well. Now, what happened with Gary is she sent him some notices, orders, that he was to stop writing. And anything on his website, he was to take it down. And he was to take down anything that was on any other website. Now, I have a website, and on my website, I am posting and have been posting a lot of his information. And the people up in Canada, Canadian Free Press, they post. In the United Kingdom, they're posting. What is she going to do? Go arrest everybody around the world because she doesn't want freedom of speech and freedom of the press, to show that the government is corrupt, that we are holding their feet to the fire, the fact that we are holding a mirror up to them, we are turning on the lights of the room, and we're exposing the cockroaches. So she threatened him and told him she wanted him to leave California and come up into her jurisdiction. And he said, no, I'm not coming up under these circumstances. You're not going to shut down the freedom of the press. I am a reporter. I am a journalist. So I talked to him last week, and he said, Maggie, he said, since everything's over now and she got her pound of flesh and she got the blood that she wanted, she's going to probably leave me alone. Nope, isn't going to happen. He got a phone call from one of the agents that he'd been dealing with. And this agent said they were coming to pick him up in 30 minutes. And he said, listen, I'm going in to have lunch with my wife. Can you give me an hour so I can let her know what's going on? I did not prepare her for this because I did not think this was going to happen. So they said, okay, we'll give you an hour. Well, little did I know that that was the same day that I was heading his direction to meet up with him and deliver him some papers that he was wanting from me, because he's been having me go out and do some, what you might call roving reporter, boots on the ground. When he's not able to get around to Nevada or to Oregon or to California or to Washington or to Utah and Arizona, then I'm the one doing it, usually with my husband with me. God bless my husband. If it wasn't for my husband, who served 28 years in the military himself, enlisted as an officer, who understands the Constitution, understands what we are fighting for during our time in service. If it wasn't for my husband, I couldn't do this. I couldn't begin to do this financially because everything comes out of our own pocket. I couldn't do this emotionally or mentally or physically. There's just no way. So I did not know that when I went to visit him that day, and he wasn't answering his phone. And so then I went by his house, and I didn't go to the front door. I went to the back and knocked on the office, and there was no answer. I knew not to go to the front door at that point because the family, he is asking that the family be kept completely separate from what he's doing fighting for the Constitution. He wants the two worlds to be completely kept separate. So I left, and I headed down the road. Thomas, are you very familiar with California?
Not at all.
Okay.
I went through there back in '98 to go to Lake Tahoe, Nevada.
Okay. Well, I ended up going Highway 5 and down to, I headed on the Highway 80 to the 505 to the 5. And then back down through 80 where Travis Air Force Base is. And I was heading to my mom's house. My mother lives in the Bay Area. And so I was going to go spend a couple weeks with her. And I stopped off at Travis Air Force Base, and I got a room there at the West Wind. And I called Sergeant Moe. We all know her as Maureen Peltier. She is retired from over 15 years in the Army National Guard. She has had many tours overseas. She had become injured, and so she is now medically retired as well. And she and I became friends about a year and a half ago up in Portland when we were there to visit our political prisoners, and we were putting money in the kiosk. And she was there with Deb Jordan, who is the significant other of Pete Santelli. And we both began to realize that we had so much in common with each other, and we became very good friends. And she was up on the show with me yesterday, and she's going to be coming back regularly, like you do, to help me with the show. Because I really believe that it's important we be able to get some other perspectives out there. What has been going on with the Bundys has been absolutely heart-wrenching. I first became acquainted with many of our political prisoners when I was a volunteer at the Sugar Pine Mine operation as a nurse. And we had some medical issues that came up. You will have that when you have hundreds of people volunteering. And in fact, one of them, we had an Associated Press reporter that ended up suffering a stroke up on the mountain while he was reporting. And it ended up, he had a blood clot to the brain. And I was the only person medical up there at the time. And a team of our volunteers helped me to get him off the mountain and get him transported by air flight to Portland, where he had immediate surgery, and they saved his life. So many of the people that you're hearing, folks, that are in the Bundy situation in Nevada, the Bundy, to say for better words, the Bundy situation and party up in Portland, Oregon, and everything in between, many of these people came from all over the country during the Sugar Pine. I slept beside them. I ate beside them. So many of these names you're hearing, I am familiar on a first name basis with. And Gary was one of those that I met during this situation. Well, when I called Sergeant Moe last week, she said, "Don't you know Gary's been arrested?" I go, "What?" "Yeah, he's been arrested." So I headed down to my mom's. I took care of things here for a couple of days. And Sunday, I drove up to check on his wife. And we are asking, again, on today's show, please do not contact his wife, his family, not by letter, not by email, not by phone call. Do not go, if you know where they live, do not go by their home. They want their privacy. They're very traumatized about this right now. They are trying to hold it together. And right now, the landscape is so fluid, we're having to just basically day by day figure out what we're going to do and what we're going to do for Gary. After I left there, I went the 2.5 hours back down to Sacramento and went to the jail, and I signed in. And when you go to the jail, Thomas, are you very familiar with ever having visited anybody in jail?
It's been a long time.
Okay. I when you walk into the Sacramento main jail, which is there on I Street, the address is 651 I Street. When you go into the jail, you find out that they're only allowed 2 hours per week for visitation. They're not quite the same as they are up in Portland at the one that Jason Patrick is at, which is at Inverness. That when you go in, you sign up, you give them your ID, you fill out at a book that will have the inmate's name and their serial number, what we call their Swiss, like Switzerland, Swiss number. You fill that out on a piece of paper, and then you wait until you get called. You go upstairs up in an elevator, and there's like 8 or 9 floors. He's on the 5th floor, and he's in pod number 3. And so you go up there, and there's a little phone to the left, and the inmate on the other side, when he sees that you're there, he has to pick up his phone, and he has to type in the number that's on his identification bracelet, which also has a color picture of him on it, which is different than what they have up in Portland. And then you can talk for 1 hour. So he and I had a really good visit for an hour. He gave me a bunch of instructions of who he wanted me to call, what he wanted me to do, the messages he wanted me to give to people. He said that when you're in jail, you feel so isolated. You feel like there is no other world outside that jail. He was absolutely stoked and so happy to see me because he knew he had no other family or friends here. His wife is way up north with the daughters. They were not able to get down, so I was it. So I told him, well, being that you only get 2 hours a week and nobody else will be coming this week, I'll be back again at 4:45, and I did. Now, and I got other information from him to pass on to those people that he wanted to have the information. One of them is his friend Doug. Now, Doug Knowles has a website, and you can find it on my website. It's basically called How You Stand Matters. You could possibly Google that on your computer. And How You Stand Matters is a website that Douglas Knowles put up. He was preparing for this day that if this did happen, what we could do to support Gary. We're asking right now people send donations in to try to help for Gary Hunt's defense team, because we're going to definitely have to get him some lawyers. The reason why Judge Brown had him arrested is she does not want him to write anymore, Thomas. No more freedom of the press. And she wants to shut him down for the Judge Navarro in Las Vegas, because right now there are 4 different tiers for the Bundys that are going on there right now. And right now the first tier is concluding. The docket text that was filed, and I'll read this to you. Can you hear me okay, Thomas?
Sure, you're coming in fine. Okay,
it's the arrest from the District of Oregon, case number 3:16 CR 0051, capital B, capital R, as to Gary Hunt. And it's Conarosi. It was entered on the 31st. Now, what's interesting about this is she actually made an order to have him arrested on the 10th of March before the jury came back with their final decision about the 4 defendants that were still going before her. That would be Jason Patrick, Jake Ryan, Daryl Thorne, and Drain Elmer. She decided to give an order to have him arrested prior to that. When they finally came to the courtroom on the 17th, these 4 defendants, she and the prosecution decided at the last minute to add on a hearing for Gary. And of course, Gary was not there, was he? He told her, I would be more than happy to come to your courtroom under certain circumstances, but I live in California. I am not in your jurisdiction, and you cannot suppress the freedom of the press. So what does she do? She enters an order on the 10th. She then has a hearing on the 17th without him being there, and then has him arrested the other day. And she's trying to extradite him to California to force him into her courtroom, force him into her jurisdiction, force him to stand in front of an Admiralty flag with the yellow fringe around it, which turns that American flag into an Admiralty flag like that of the high seas. There's a whole different set of laws that take place when you step 3 miles outside our ocean shore, okay? Here, Mr. Rose sent to me the 1 minute's text only for initial appearance in Rule 5C3 proceedings as to Gary Hunt on 31 March. before Magistrate Judge Edmund Brennan regarding the District of Oregon case. All parties present. So this last Friday, Gary Hunt went before Judge Edmund F. Brennan, who happens to be good friends with Judge Brown, who happens to have been that Judge Brown did him a favor. Now, I don't know if Brown did it from a favor up in Portland, Oregon, where she is, and he's down in Sacramento. I do not know, but it sounds like now he's doing a favor for her. Judge Brennan, regarding the District of Oregon case, is hearing this case here in Sacramento. All parties present. The federal defender was appointed to represent the deaf. The court advised the deaf of his rights. The deaf waived any identification hearing. That's Gary. Deaf is Gary. The government moved for detention. Defense counsel argued for release to include posting a secured bond. After advisement by the court, the deaf addressed the court. After consideration and for reasons as stated on the record, the court ordered the deaf, Gary Hunt, detained and to be transported forthwith to the District of Oregon. Now let me read that one more time for those of you that don't understand what's going on here. Deft, D-E-F-T, means defendant. That is Gary Hunt, journalist and reporter. As you all know, Pete Santelli is still sitting in jail because he was outspoken for freedom of the press and freedom of speech, and he was reporting minute by minute what was going on at Mauer. Mr. Emery made a mistake with a friend's firearms, but that's not really why they went after him. They went after him because he was reporting for Idaho Voice. He was a reporter. Gary Hunt is a reporter. They're going after him. So Friday, he went before the magistrate in Sacramento, Judge Edmund F. Brennan, B-R-E-N-N-A-N, regarding the District of Oregon case 3:16-CR-00051-BR, like in boy Romeo. All parties were present. The public federal defender, whose name is, by the way, folks, Beavers, B-E-E-V-E-R-S, was appointed to represent the defendant. The court advised the defendant of his rights. The defendant waived any identification hearing. The government moved for detention. Defense counsel argued for the release to include posting a secured bond. After advisement by the court, the defendant addressed the court. After consideration and for the reasons as stated on the record, the court ordered the defendant detained and to be transported forthwith to the District of Oregon. Government counsel Heiko, H-E-I-K-O, Coppola, C-O-P-P-O-L-A, was present. Defense counsel Douglas Beavers, B-E-E-V-E-R-S, was present. Custody status in custody. And the court reporter was Jonathan Anderson. Now, Thomas, what I want to share with you here is what Gary told me. He said what they're going to do is probably illegally, after having kidnapped him, they're probably going to transport him by diesel therapy. Are you aware of what diesel therapy is?
No, ma'am.
You don't know what diesel therapy is? Okay.
No, but what I need to explain to you is, and I think you know this, but maybe other people don't. This gentleman is a member of the United States government that he is reporting against. And this is a communist system of government that he's a member of. And they're taking him to their communist system of court, okay? And there's no telling what they'll do to him. They might inject him with diesel. They can do anything to the citizen of the United States they want. People were talking about somebody that got subpoenaed to a court because of a post on Facebook. Well, they won't ask me to any of their courts because I'm not one of their citizens of the United States and I know the law. We must understand the law. There are two systems of law running in this country. This union of countries, this United States, and one is the Founding Fathers' common law, and the other is the 14th Amendment communist system of private law, and the majority of people are under this, and they don't even realize it. And we have done it voluntarily because of our ignorance of the 14th Amendment and this private system of law that runs under the 14th Amendment, as long as you maintain this social security number, or as I like to call it, so people catch it, socialist security number. Did the founding fathers have social security numbers?
No.
Okay. Why do we?
Because it's a way of tracking us, I guess.
That is your number that designates you in this communist, socialist, Marxist system of 14th Amendment government. I have since given mine back to the government and told them to cancel it, and this was a couple of years ago. And I don't have any contact. I raise hell on Facebook. I raise hell everywhere I go, and I talk and say what I want to, because my system of government of the founding fathers allows you to say anything you want to, however intelligent, radical, or ignorant it is. And people have the right to look at you with, either you're smart, you're ignorant, or you're just a nut job. Not anymore. They will arrest you if you're a member of their United States government. And people don't get this. And this is what we must talk about. You said something a while ago about this guy understands the Constitution. I guarantee you he doesn't understand the Constitution, or he would no longer be a citizen of the United States communist government. And I think we went over the last show in this, how if you're a citizen of the United States, your jurisdiction is within the District of Columbia, and that Constitution, the United States Constitution, says they have exclusive legislative rights over any matter within the 10-mile square, which is D.C. So people are not getting this, and this is why they're winding up in one of these gulags by one of these communist judges in one of these communist courts. These are not American courts run on our founding law, the founding fathers, and this is what we teach in Marion C. Metz School of Common Law every Friday night. And people need to wake up and start coming to this class, or you don't have a clue what's going on. Last weekend we went over what the founding fathers said a jury was. We haven't had a jury probably since the 1860s. And we haven't had a common law jury for sure since then, because they started changing everything back before. And they call them special juries for special law. And this is what all this admiralty and commercial law is today. And we get stuck in it, and we don't even know that it's a special jury. These juries are struck juries, where you can strike people from the jury. And it's totally insane what we do not know, because all the information has been hidden from us. And Joseph Rory goes over this every Friday night, very methodical, very slow, so it's so easy to get. And we have a recorded file in the Marion C. Metz School of Common Law, and under files, each class has been recorded, and the things I've learned has totally blown my mind. I thought I knew the Constitution 10 years ago.
So did I.
I wasn't even close. I've asked countless people, have you ever read the 14th Amendment? No, I haven't. Well, what does the First Amendment say? It says all persons born are citizens of the United States foreign government. You're not a member of the founding fathers' government. You have to understand this and restore that membership to the founding fathers. It's no longer handed to us on a silver platter. And these guys are going to be people that are talking about the government on their radio shows or blogs or what have you. They're going to all be rounded up just like Lincoln rounded them up in the 1860s, because they were talking about how Lincoln totally usurped the United States Constitution. And he did. I have articles of the time, the exact print, where reporters are saying Lincoln threw the Constitution out and surrounded himself with monarchical powers. And this was his Congress, the radical Republicans. People think, oh, I'm a Republican. guys, that's not such a good thing. Lincoln was the first radical Republican that came into the White House via the Marxist 48ers. This was a hijacking of our country. And to understand this, we need to look back at what happened in history. And it happened so long ago that we do not realize that our government was usurped big time. I mean, these guys brought over Marxist communist socialists from the Marxist Revolution of 1848 and installed them right in the Union Army. And a lot of these guys are Trotskyites. You can see their names as lieutenants, colonels, majors, what have you, in the Union Army. And these are the guys that took over, and they still run the police state today. And this is what we're seeing, people getting rounded up. They're being rounded up by the police state that Lincoln started in the 1860s. This whole Civil War was illegal, unconstitutional, and this is basically when the U.S. Constitution was broke, was when Lincoln broke the contract with the states that formed the federal government. And we've got to wake up to this fact and start saying, hey, I'm a socialist if I have a socialist security number. And we have to swallow that fact and say, hey, I'm a member of a government, and here's my number. And the founding fathers never talk about a socialist number that you will have from birth in their government. So what we have to do is we either have to say, look, I'm on board or I'm not on board. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And I'm going to keep I'm going to keep digging in that same hole. We talked about this a while back, that your husband can't do this. Some people will not be able to do this because they're so mentally or physically damaged from the military or their job or what have you, or they're so far in debt. And the only thing they can retire on is their Social Security. I get that. Not everybody's going to be able to do this. I did not do this. I did not plan with the federal government to make my dreams come true later on in life. And the younger people in our countries are 50 countries. This is not one country. It's 50 countries, but we've all been brainwashed. Hopefully the young will catch on to this and say, hey, I don't want your socialist number. Here, let me give it back to you right now before I get any deeper into your socialist form of government. And, these people that are talking about the government, they're a member of that government, and you cannot do that. What do they do in foreign countries, in these communist countries, when you talk about their communist government? They run over you with tanks, right? They put you in gulags.
Yep, they sure do.
That's no different than what's happening to the Bundys or these other guys out in Oregon. Same thing. They're rounding up everybody that's talking that they're members of this government. They're not an actual member of the founding fathers' original government. They're a member of the 14th Amendment government. Everybody needs to wake up to this and start studying the 14th Amendment. The best thing you can do, people that don't want to get on Facebook, they can go type in the dastardly 14th Amendment, look up the Marxist 48ers in Lincoln, and this will start you down the path of the 14th Amendment government that took over. I mean, it's so insane when I explain it to most people that are Republican or Democrat or Libertarian or everything. They can't see anything further than past their politics of my party. Guys, these parties, they're all part of the problem. They've all raised the national debt to $20 trillion. You can't say that one of them did and the other one didn't. They both have. So quit paying attention to this political garbage that you're seeing and start looking under the hood of the car. The paint's shiny on the outside, but it's ugly when you raise the hood. It's really ugly, and you have to realize that, hey, I've got a socialist security number. I'm a member of some other form of government that the founding fathers never gave me. And we have to wake up to this realization and say, hey, this is a socialist slave number, and I'm part of this government. I want out. I did this when I was 58 years old. I'm now 60. I read this amazing book, and it spelled it all out. I was like, wow, as soon as I read the book, I got out. I said, here's all your stuff back. I don't want anything. I never used a Social Security number except when I opened a bank account. And then I realized, hey, all these crazy people are running the banks too. Oh, they're doing all this crazy stuff. The Social Security number back in the early 1900s. That was another plan in their step from the 14th Amendment. Everybody keeps looking at the 17th Amendment, the 18th Amendment, the 16th Amendment. Guys, it all comes from the 14th Amendment, this new government. They formed a new government and added us all to it. At birth, all persons born in this country are citizens of the United States foreign government. It's that simple. The United States has always been a foreign government to the several states, which were the founders. The founding fathers came from the states. They formed this government limited. And then Lincoln came in with his Marxist and started forcing this down people's throats. And this whole deal is forced. Now people just take it for granted that that's the way things are.
Well, That's right. That's right. In fact, it's interesting. When I was at the jail, Gary said to me, he said, they're going to try to do diesel therapy on me before they even get me up to Oregon. They're going to try to throw everybody off the track. He said, so many people are apathetic that it's like, don't bother me with this. It's none of my business. And I said, well, what do you think they're going to do? And he says, I think they're going to either take me by bus to Pahrump, down where the Bundys are right now, or they're going to take me and put me on an airplane. He said, this is what they did with John Ritzheimer. They put him on a bus, then they put him on an airplane. They flew him around the country. They flew him from the West Coast to the East Coast, back to the West Coast, before they finally took him where they wanted him to go. Do you know what I found out, Thomas? I found out that guy, and I can't remember his name, Bob Baker or Bob Barker. He used to run a game show on TV. He's one of those. Is that Bob Barker? Okay, yeah. So I got it right. Okay, Bob Barker. What I found out yesterday, that he ended up owning a company where he was the owner of the company. And what they do is they make T-shirts and underwear and tennis shoes and clothes for the prison system. And he has contracts all over the country where he makes the items for the prisoners to wear in the jails, in the juvenile halls, and in the prison systems across the United States. So he is a concessionaire. He is a vendor. And it turned out that this is what's going on all across the country. The telecommunications like Pac Bell in California, and people that make the food that goes into the jails, they are all making money hand over fist. So putting someone in prison and not letting them out has become a money-making commodity. It keeps the judges employed. It keeps the law enforcement employed. It keeps the prison guards, the sheriff's department employed. It keeps the magistrates employed. Do you know that Jason Patrick informed Sergeant Moe that when he jumped off of his cot there at the Inverness jail outside the Portland airport, he damaged his finger and he finally had to go on sick call. And the nurse gave him one aspirin. Now, Thomas, one aspirin is not going to do it. But she gave it.
They don't care if you die in these prisons today. This NDAA Act that they passed in 2010, they can lock you away for an indefinite period of time. And this, right in Section 1021 and 1022, they talk about these belligerents. If you're a citizen of the United States with a Social Security number and you're talking about your government and you're talking bad about them and you're outing them, they will put you in one of these gulags, and they have plenty of them around the country. They built like 800 FEMA camps from my research from 5 years ago. And they'll do anything they want to with you.
I know.
We got to wake up in this country and say no more socialism, no more social security number. Hey, I don't care what I paid into it. You keep your damn money. I want to be free. I want my true country of Texas back from you communist bastards.
Right, exactly.
And the thing, they are.
And that's what they are. In fact, the one thing that I agree with Gary and so many other people, so many people have used the word shysters. These judges are shysters. They are criminal shysters. And they are actually enemies of the true state the founding fathers left us with, and that's the way we contact these people. If they ever send us anything, we contact them and let them know they are enemies of the state, and we don't want to have anything to do with them. Well, what happened when Jason went on sick call? They charged his account. Now you have to put money in their account and for the commissary. So if they're not getting enough to eat, which they aren't in the prison system, you can purchase certain items at the commissary. You can purchase cigarettes, you can purchase extra soda, and of course they double charge what you would pay for a soda on the outside. They're getting double charged in the prison system. If you have Blue Cross or Blue Shield or Kaiser or any other kind of medical insurance and your family members are continuing to pay the premium on your medical insurance, the prison systems will not allow you. They don't want to do the paperwork. They don't want to deal with it. They will not allow you to use your medical. I can hear you clicking in the background. So when you're doing that, you're going to have to mute the mic. So when what they do is that they will not allow you to use your medical insurance. We have a guy down in right now at the Las Vegas trial that's going on, and he had diabetes, and he asked for treatment, and they did not properly treat him. So he started to go blind. He asked for his own doctor. They would not even let his own doctor come in to visit him in jail to see what was going on with him. He went completely blind while he's been in jail during this Bundy trial. In fact, a couple weeks ago, he had I guess it was a stroke or something, what appeared to be a stroke, and they had to actually shut down Navarro's courtroom to see to his medical condition. Now, Jason Patrick, when he went to the medical dispensary the other day, from what I have been told, he had to have his finger looked at. She gave him 1 aspirin. They charged him $10. $10, Thomas, for that aspirin. This is just, what do you say to this, Thomas? Can you imagine $10 for one little baby aspirin? I mean, I don't understand it. They're lucky they charge the people over in these third world countries for the bullet it takes to execute their loved one. So, that's nothing. We're moving towards that system big time. I mean, it's in your face. How much longer do we have to ignore what's going on? Oh, I agree. $10 for an aspirin. Come on, get real. Well, I know. Next, they'll send him his family a bill for the drugs it takes to execute him. I mean, they did this same thing during the Lincoln administration. They arrested thousands of reporters and locked them away in offshore boats, so people couldn't contact them. They couldn't go see them. They were in offshore ships. It's totally insane. Are you serious? I did not know about that. I did not know about that. This is the same thing the NDAA Act does to the belligerents. A belligerent is anybody that talks smack about the government they're a member of. This is what the whole NDAA Act was for, the Patriot Act, all this crap. It's from George Bush all the way through. And if anybody thinks Donald Trump is going to save us, just stand in front of my hand and let me slap you, okay, until you come awake, because one guy's not going to do anything. It's up to every one of us to go, hey, I don't want to support that government anymore. They're killing people all over the country. Donald Trump's drone strikes are up 432% over Obama's. We need to stop supporting that with our weekly donations of income tax, which is totally 100% voluntary and has nothing to do with the people of the several states, a.k.a. real Americans. Now, I understand from Kyle Reardon, who is, he's got the Last Bastille blog. Again, the Last Bastille, Bastille. Kyle Reardon has come up on my show before. He's down in your neck of the woods, somewhere in the Texas area.
Yeah,
And
he's in Texas.
yeah, and he said to me that he really hated to burst my bubble, but he found something, a legal paper somewhere that showed that they can legally charge income tax from us. And he's between a libertarian and an anarchist. He's somewhere in
Yes,
between.
they can charge the citizen of the United States that carries that social security number with anything they want. Whether you carry either moniker, either the citizen of the United States title or the socialist security number, they can legally charge you with income tax. And I'm sure Kyle's found it. They can legally do anything they want. See, the government pre-Lincoln was run on the word of God. I guarantee you this government is not run on the word of God, because they do anything they want to in Congress and these state legislatures. Okay? Before Lincoln, they checked the Bible. What do now? Anything goes. This was what Lincoln changed. The founding fathers said Congress shall meet once a year from time to time. Are they still doing that? No, because we're supporting this communist system of government with our weekly installments of income tax. We are voluntarily funding our own demise because we're not waking up to what's going on. This is not an American government in control. This is a Lincoln Marxist, communist, quasi-socialist government in control. I mean, how much more in your face does it have to be? Socialist security number.
Well,
there
you know what?
are. Did the founding fathers have those?
But Thomas, what I'm trying to say here is, look what's going on with the Bundy women right now. They got up on Facebook, and it's on my Facebook page. If you guys want to see it, you can go ahead and friend me at Maggie Rose McGrath. I'm on Facebook. You can go to my website, www.theconcordshow.com. That's www.theconcord, CONCORD, show, SHOW.com, or you can send me an email at the Concord Hour with Maggie at hotmail.com. On there, the Bundy women are stating that people are no longer getting involved. It's like almost they have forgotten what the Bundys stood for. Even the people that came from across the country are not coming back. They either are afraid or they're apathetic. I mean, Thomas, even with this Social Security number saying that this is made as corporate citizens, there are people right now today, as you and I are here on the show, that are telling me is that they don't want to be involved. That's when I ask them, and I try to give them my business card that has the Revolution Radio logo on it, has my name on it, has the website on it. And I say, write letters, call your congressman. You're sitting here visiting your family members in jail, and some of them may be here rightfully so. But many of them are being kept in jail way beyond their sentence that they served, because it's money making. So we'll be right back at the other side of the hour, Thomas. And then I want you to answer that question, what we do about people that are apathetic, that don't want to be involved. Okay? We'll be right back.
Okay.
research has now revealed that eating red meat poses a major health risk. Research reveals that eating red meat poses a major health risk. And what's interesting is because the meat lobbyists are so big and the beef market is so big that guess what? They went in and they took down that video. That video was put up this morning, and within an hour and a half, the video was taken down. And they say that the video is no longer available. You know, folks, when things like this happen, that the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto are well and doing just fine. Whenever there's anything they don't want us to read, they don't want us to know about, they try to find a way to pull it off the internet. They try to pull it off the air. I've seen this happen on Fox News. I've seen this happen on CNN. They are controlling what information they want us to have. And tomorrow night, I will be talking a little bit about my visit to Sacramento on Sunday when I went to visit Gary Hunt. And some of the people that I met there, I met some people who had loved ones that were in the Sacramento jail. One of them, her name is Paula, and her mother is in jail for supposedly stealing a dog. Did you know that it is a felony to pick up somebody's dog in California? Her mother is mentally ill. She has bipolar, and she had a manic episode, and she thought the dog was hers. Because she picked up that dog and was going to walk away with it, she got thrown in the county jail in Sacramento, and they were charging her with the felony of dog napping. That will be just one of the stories we'll be talking about tomorrow night. Mostly we'll be talking about what is going on right now in this landscape. Now, I told Thomas about this, that I was going to share this with you. Thomas, how many people does it take to arrest a person? How many people, Thomas?
One, as far as I know.
No, seriously.
One crazy man with a gun. That's
okay. So what happens if you know that this man is not crazy and he doesn't have a gun? How many people would it take to arrest a man?
It would take a bunch to arrest me because I'm heavily armed.
But are you just flexing your muscles and being bravado and peacocking, or would you really do that?
Oh yeah. If they pull up in this parking lot, it's on.
Okay. Well, Gary Hunt told me that he got a phone call, of course, that they were going to come get him. And he asked them, instead of 30 minutes, could they hold off for an hour? They said, okay. So he did what he told me when I visited him in jail Sunday. He said it's called self-arrest. It's where basically you walk out on your own reconnaissance. You do not fight it. You do not hole up. You do not fire back or anything. They knew that he was going to self-arrest. He says, Maggie, he said, before I left my kitchen table, I took out my wallet. I took off my watch. He said, I took my cell phone, all my money, put it on the table. He said, all I took with me was my signature hat, my smokes, and my lighter. And he said, I walked out the door. He said, 4 vehicles pulled up. 4. In each vehicle was a U.S. Marshal. There's your tax dollars at work, folks. 4 separate vehicles with gas at government expense, at taxpayer expense. Each vehicle only had one person sitting in it, the one driving. So 4 U.S. Marshals, each with their own car, pulled up, and right behind them, the 5th car pulled up. And in that car was an FBI agent. He got out of his 5th car along with another man that was a passenger who was in a business suit. Gary Hunt could not identify who that person was. They arrested him. Originally, they put him with his hands behind his back. Then they agreed to shackle him to the front, and they did a 5-point restraint, according to Gary. A 5-point restraint. Maggie, he said, can you imagine what it's like to be restrained in a 5-point restraint? He said, they had these shackles around my ankle. And he said, I found out that each of the U.S. Marshals carries not just one, but sometimes they each have 2 pairs of 5-point restraints to their name. They each have at least one, but maybe 2. He said these shackles were put around my ankles and they were biting into the bone above my ankle. They do not care if they break the skin. They don't care if they cripple you. They don't care the damage they cause.
Maggie, what's his crime? Talking?
No, writing as a news reporter.
That's talking, freedom of speech. That's his crime. Does it make sense that he's not a member of an American form of government, but he's a member of maybe a 14th Amendment communist government that talks about the citizen of the United States and carries a socialist security number? You think that's a member of a government that treats his people like that?
No. The point is...
I guarantee you this man carries a socialist security number. He's a citizen of the United States foreign government via the 14th Amendment. That's who this guy is. We don't realize who we're dealing with. Has it sunk in yet? I mean, everything I've talked about this morning, has it sunk in yet that you're a member of a communist government via the 14th Amendment?
I think the average person is so overwhelmed with just trying to survive that I don't think they realize just how serious it is. And maybe
they're not reading what they need to be reading. I've got something here from President Andrew Johnson, and he's talking about the 14th Amendment. He says, not in 500 years have white English-speaking people been enslaved like this. He's talking about the 14th Amendment and this new communist government that starts. I'll post this in the chat box. It's totally insane. And there have been countless other congressmen that have talked about this through the years, and nobody's doing nothing because they're all in on the scheme, Maggie. They're farming us just like they did back in the day during the true in-your-face slave days. This is no different. It's totally insane. We've got to quit looking at this stupid crap on the internet and quit reading stupid and start opening up to knowledge.
Well, that's what I would...
Let me read to you what Andrew Johnson said back in when they were trying to get this amendment passed. He said, such a power has not been wielded by any monarch in England for more than 500 years. In all that time, no people who speak the English language have borne such servitude. Servitude is slavery. It reduces the whole population of the 10 southern states, all persons of every color, sex, and condition, and every stranger within their limits to the most abject and degrading slavery. No master ever had a control so absolute over the slaves as this bill gives to the military officers over both white and colored persons. He's talking about the 14th Amendment, and this has been knowledge that's been out there for 150 years, and nobody's reading this because they're hung up on my Republican, my Democrat party, blah, 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 is better than your Democrat, Republican, Libertarian Party. But here, I'm going to post this whole deal. I just posted it in the chat box. People read that. This is President Andrew Johnson. Right there on the bottom, President Andrew Johnson on the 14th Amendment, still thinking you need to ignore this amendment. People keep asking me about secession. Why hasn't Texas seceded yet? By the way, folks, it's SECEDED. Guys, 10 states seceded in 1860s, and it didn't have anything to do with slavery. And this foreign federal government had so much money in their pocket that they hired whoever they wanted to turn this thing into a Marxist police state. And we've been this police state ever since. They burnt the South to the waterline in Georgia and different places. They burnt the courthouses of the South so we wouldn't have any record of what's going on. What we see today, we think is normal. There is nothing normal going on in America today. Before this garbage happened, the government was a servant of the people. And it all started to break down right after Karl Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto in 1848. This called out all the control freaks around the world, and guess where they went? because we had 80 years of unbridled freedom.
You have a phone ringing.
Yeah, I just hung up on it because it was probably a telemarketer. Anyway, we have to wake up in this country, and, people that don't want to get involved, bless their heart. That's the same thing a lot of people in the South said when the North started coming. I'm just going to be over here farming. I'll get back with you later if it really gets bad. 9 million people were enslaved by this amendment from the South. Do you think if they knew what was actually coming, Marxism, communism, and socialism was coming with a totalitarian government back in the 1860s, they would have said, hey, I'm going to be over here farming cotton. You guys just carry on with your little war over there. No, they would have fought tooth and nail. And this is what Jefferson Davis talked about. He said, we'll fight to the last man, or we'll be controlled by these carpetbaggers of the North, which he basically was saying Marxist, communist, socialist. And Lincoln imported tons of these guys. He had them shipped over here from Europe, and they took over. Yeah. And that's what we see today. And we see the velvet glove coming off of the iron fist today.
Oh, yes.
With these different reporters. I personally know people and have met them that are sitting in the same gulags because they're reporters. They went out there to Oregon. They reported. They came and rounded them up. Usually they get them in these airports with this facial recognition software. And I believe that's where Tommy, what's his name? I'll think of his name here in a minute, from Resurrect the Republic Radio.
Oh, really?
Thomas Robert Lacavore Stewart. Yeah, he's a reporter. He's sitting in jail. And I told him what needed to be done. He said, I've got to collect my government check. Well, guess what? They came and got their government employee. Thomas Robert Lacavore Stewart is sitting in a gulag right now, and no telling when these guys are going to get out. It tells you right in the NDAA Act, we will lock you up for an indefinite period, belligerent. This is exactly what 1021 and 1022 says of the NDAA Act.
What I'm asking you, why are they not going after Glenn Beck? Why are they not going after Michael Reagan? Why are they not going after Rush Limbaugh?
I'm going to tell you because.
Why are they not going after Lars Larson?
Because these people work for them. They have a federal license, okay? These guys that are getting arrested don't have a federal license, and they're talking about their. Look, this guy that you know, Gary Hunt, he's a citizen of the United States without a license, and he's not on their team. Glenn Beck says just enough to keep people confused. Mark Levin, same thing. Rush, same thing. Sean Hannity, same thing. Alan Combs, all these guys, same thing. They're not telling you what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you would get any citizen of the United States reporter arrested. Are they talking about the 14th Amendment? No. None of them are talking about it. Mr. Constitution, Mark Levin's not talking about this. Chris Hall, Miss Constitution's not talking about the 14th Amendment government. She's just telling you about your rights you have under the Bill of Rights, which the people of the several states, which I posted from this Justice story a while ago, Chief Justice Marshall and Barron v. the mayor and city council of Baltimore, the people of the several states never had a Bill of Rights. They had their own constitution because they were countries before the Civil War. Every state was a sovereign country in this union, and now we're just a subsidiary under the foreign federal government because they said so, and they made us citizens of the United States. Why would I want to be a citizen of the United States supporting this government? Because they're killing people all over the globe with their drones and all this stuff? I don't think so. So I had to read this book and understand that, hey, I can restore my state nationality and not be in that government. See, I'm what's called a foreign national because I'm a Texas national. Let me explain to you the difference. Everybody knows about the murder of Lavoy Finicum. God bless his soul. He was a citizen of the United States. He got gunned down out there in Oregon. How many cops went to jail over killing Lavoy Finicum?
Zero. None.
Zero. Okay. Now let me tell you what happens to a federal agent when they wound a foreign national. Does everybody remember the two U.S. border agents down on the Texas border that wounded a foreign national? He happened to be a Mexican, which is foreign to the United States government. What happened to those two U.S. border agents for wounding a foreign national? Which is, by the way, what I am, because I'm a Texan. I'm not a citizen of the United States. I gave them back all their junk. They put those two U.S. agents in prison for 10 years for wounding a foreign national in the buttocks. What did they do to the foreign agents? I mean, to the federal agents that shot Lavoy Finicum? Nothing. See the difference? There are two systems of government in this country. Either you're one of their citizens and they can kill you legally, or you're not one of their citizens. You're a foreign national. That's what I am. Okay? You get that?
Yes, I do.
I cannot support that government because I'm not within their system that allows me to support their government. I can only support the true constitutional government of Texas, which is not the government in control today. They are run by citizens of the United States, and this is an unconstitutional form of government that's running in each state also. So does everybody see the difference?
I see the difference. I do. So so right now, what do we, the American people, being that I think a reason why a lot of people, let me tell you, and I'm going to mention his name happens to be Gary. He's back east somewhere. I've got a bunch of their names sitting right here in front of me. They all know who they are. They were the ones that came to Mauer during that whole situation, and many of them were medical. They set up a medical tent, a big, beautiful medical tent right there at the RV park on the corner of the Narrows, right where the little restaurant is. And I met them when I was at the refuge during the constitutional class, and the class had concluded, and John Capel with ABC News is one of the reporters. We were with John Capel, and he had gone off to do some reporting on whatever, somewhere there at the refuge, and we were inside the class. When we came out, some of these people were standing there in front of us, and let's just say they had all their equipment with them, okay? But they stated that they were there mostly medical, and I said, oh, do you have a medical tent here at the refuge? And they said, no, that's not a good idea in case something happens, because we will not trust that this government will not try to pull another wake up. And I said, no, what they'll do is they'll be picking people off one at a time, like they've done with Gary Hunt, like they've done with Michael Emery, like they've done with the Bundys, like they've done with everybody who's been supporting the Constitution. And they said, no, we're out at the Narrows. And so Lavoy Finicum and Ammon Bundy introduced them to my husband and myself, and we all exchanged phone numbers or business cards. And I said, look at it. I says, I know some of you were former military medics. I said, I was a combat medic. I'm also a licensed nurse. And I said, anything I can do to help you, let me know. Well, later on, when either just before or right after Lavoy was assassinated by the government, they all went back east. Some of them are from Michigan, some are from Missouri, and they all went back there. And the next thing you know is they were hostile towards any of us that they had run into, that they'd had any contact with. They were saying, we do not support the Constitution, what the Bundys are saying. We do not support what is going on. They're going to get what they have coming to them. They deserve whatever they get. They deserve even more than what they've already gotten. And one of them actually admitted to me he was freaking out because the FBI had come knocking on his door and left a business card because they knew he was one of the medics that had set up a medical tent outside of the refuge at the Narrows. So now all of a sudden, these so-called men are cowards, and I'm going to call them out on it. They are literally cowards. They were there in the thick of it. They had all their equipment. You all know what that means. With them, they're on the refuge. I saw them. I know them by name. I know them by face. And yet when everybody else is willing to stick their neck out and take a stand for due process, take a stand for the Constitution, take a stand for freedom of the press, take a stand for freedom of speech, and call out these corrupt judges, these men that have genitalia below their waist that I don't have, are sitting there and running and then disavowing that they were even there. They were telling me, we weren't there, Maggie Rose. You never saw us. We weren't there. They are cowards, Thomas. Pure and simple cowards.
These were the supposed constitutionalists that came out there?
Yes.
Yeah, they're cowards.
Yes.
But probably when the FBI came to visit them, they put some garbage in their ear about these are not great Americans. They're just blah, 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 blah. But, you know, a man with a backbone would have stood up and said, okay, have a nice day, sir. I'm still with those guys. And they might have even threatened them with the NDAA Act that we can illegally detain you for an indefinite period of time. These are the exact words in the NDAA Act. Look up Section 1021 and 1022. You can do that search on Google, and this is what it says. Guys, you know, I get it, you know, that some of these guys that went out there, rah, rah, kiss, boom, bah, we're going to go out there as medical, blah, blah, blah. And then they go home. They've got children, nieces, nephews, granddaughters, grandkids. And then the FBI shows up and says, hey, we can pull this NDA Act on you. Do you know that, John Q. Public? Yes, sir, I got it. We don't know those guys anymore. You didn't see us out there. I get it. You understand what they did? They scared the hell out of these people. You know, they will take everything you have if you are a member of their government. All we have to do is step out of that government and say, no, thank you. I'm done with you people. I'm a Texan. You're a Californian. Everybody else was born in a state, right? Why do you maintain the citizen of the United States status if it gives you an unlimited government like we see? I don't get it. As soon as I read the book, I was out. I mean, within weeks, I was done with my paperwork. I was out. I've got friends that are like, well, I'm going to do it here in 2 or 3 months. What's the holdup? Things aren't getting better. This was an act that was passed within 24 hours of the 14th Amendment being passed. They had to do this to leave us an open avenue back to our true form of government. But because we are ignorant of the law, we hate reading law, and we ignore what's going on in this country because we're not given that 10 minutes of time to read the Expatriation Act of July 27th, 1868, which tells us we have a right to our true and lawful state nationality. Even though the very next day, within 24 hours, they passed the 14th Amendment, which made us citizens of the United States foreign government. We've taken this title as citizen of the United States to be some good thing because the teachers in school in the indoctrination centers told us, here's your Bill of Rights, citizens of the United States. You're the most free people on earth. That's a total lie that's being taught and being passed down through generation and generation and generation, and we never give it 1 second's worth of thought that, hey, something's wrong in America. Let me look underneath the hood of this car. Let me look at the motor. Let me look at the transmission on this thing. Oh no, I'm just going to drive the car. I'm not going to be involved.
Right,
hey,
right.
This thing's about to run out of oil, and we have the remedy here. We just and I can't remember which founding father it was that said this back in 1772. Anytime a government becomes tyrannical, people can leave that society and start anew. This is in almost every constitution. I know it's in the Texas Constitution. And we have this right to do this. Guys, we have the most murderous government on planet Earth right now. What's it going to take? For them to come kill one of your loved ones?
Well, you know, what's interesting is, one when I was talking to this guy by the name of Pete in the jail the other day, and he was telling me the story of what happened to one of his family members. And he said, do you realize that his sentence was concluded, his debt to society was concluded 3 years ago? But he said, it is such a money-making thing. The prison system has become privatized.
Oh,
and
yeah, long time ago.
The corruption. When I went into the jail to put some money in Sunday for Gary, I thought, well, you know, if he is going to be moved by diesel therapy, I'm only going to put like maybe $40 in there. And I found out that sometimes the money follows them and sometimes it doesn't. So I went in to put the money in. For the first $20, you have to pay $4.95 to put the first $20 in cash into that kiosk machine. Then they asked me a question, and the question was, do you want to send them a little note? Do you want to send them a note? The person that you have that's in the prison, do you want to send them a note? The note can be, I love you, I miss you, I can't wait to see you again. Or it can be, do you want me to make any phone calls for you? Also, there's one of the 3 notes that you can say is, do you want me to pick up your items for you? Which means if you are arrested and your items are being held in another location in the jail, do you want your family member to come get your wallet or your watch or your cell phone or whatever? So I knew that Gary was going to want me eventually to pick up his items and get them to him if he was released on OR, because he was promised by the U.S. Marshals he was going to be released on OR. And so I clicked yes, that I would pick up his items for him if he wanted me to, and to send him a note that I would do that. Do you know they charged me another $5 for that 1-sentence note? They charged me $8.95 for putting money in his account and additional money for sending a 1-line note to him electronically. This is highway robbery. It's highway robbery. They are making, you look at Bob Barker making money off the prison system by making all the uniforms and the T-shirts and the underwear and the socks and the shoes. You
Maggie,
look at the concessionaires. I mean, it's such a money-making thing. It pisses me off.
Are we the land of the free and the home of the brave? Or
Hell
the
no.
land, are we the land of the largest prison population on planet Earth? We have 5% of the people on Earth. We have the largest prison population. We have a larger prison population than communist Red China, and they have 1.3 billion people. We have 1/4 that. They are more free in communist Red China than we are. Do you get that? People need to wake the hell up. We have 5% of the population. 1/5 of what communist Red China does, and we have a larger prison population, like twice the size of their country. Who's more free? China or the United States?
China, I guess.
It's time to wake up, people. Yeah, it's a money-making deal, and there's a bunch of greedy bastards out there just wringing their hands going, look at what these suckers are doing to talk to their loved ones that we've got locked up. They're so stupid. They just keep on doing this stupid crap. It's time for us to listen. It's time for us to quit reading the politics, quit sharing the politics. It's all BS. Do you know what Frank Zappa said back in the 70s? He said, politics is the distraction division of the military-industrial complex. Politics has distracted us from what's really going on in this country.
Wow.
We look at these politicians and we keep year after year after year, my candidate's going to make this right. My candidate's going to do this. My candidate's going to, that's bullshit. Okay, excuse my French. That's BS. The deficit keeps going up. It went up under George Bush, huge. It went up under President Obama, huge. It's going to go up under Trump, even more huge. This is the guy with $1 billion bankruptcies that disappeared, and he's going to make our debt problems go away. We're going to start seeing the silk glove come off of the iron fist after about 90 days of him being in office, which is not far from now. People need to wake up. Guys, Quit reading this political garbage. Quit reading from these so-called constitutionalists. Start studying the 14th Amendment. Start studying your common law. Start thinking about correcting your nationality and giving that socialist security number back to these socialist, communist, Marxists. It's a quasi-hybrid government that they've created. Most people don't realize that we were taken over by communists so long ago in the 1860s. We've been communist longer than communist China. Communist China has only been communist for about 70 years. We've been communist since the 14th Amendment placed us all under one central federal nationality.
Well, you know, one of the things that long time ago, I brought David M. Zuniga up on my show, and he's with AmericaAgain.com. And one of the things I have it on my Facebook page is that they had an article on AmericaAgain.com, and the question was, is productive America insane? That was the title of their article. Is productive America insane? You are productive America. You are part of we the people. We are supposed to be the boss of government according to the Constitution. So what is wrong with this picture? You inherited a venture with the most exciting mission in history passed down from your ancestors. What is wrong with people, Thomas? I don't understand why they are just going along like a bunch of sheeple and saying, I don't want to be involved. This is not my problem. They are allowing their country to be taken over.
Yeah, I accidentally hit the wrong freaking button.
That's okay.
Sorry about that. What's wrong with people? Maggie, Karl Marx said back in the 1840s, how do you take a people's rights away and them never know it? Take them away one at a time, slowly over time, and they will never know they've been enslaved. This is what happened. Do you know that true beat on the back slaves after 2 to 3 generations never know they're slaves? There was a lady, Harriet Tubman, in the Underground Railroad. After they set all the slaves free, after 3 years into the Civil War, Lincoln passed the Emancipation Proclamation and came up with this deal, anti-slavery. The Civil War never started on anti-slavery. It was 3 years into the war. They released all these slaves. Harriet Tubman went down to release these slaves, and they didn't know they were slaves. True slaves with whip marks on their back, which not a lot of slaves were beat, because you can't beat somebody and get them to pick cotton all day long. It doesn't work that way. You're not motivating your people. It'd be like me going out here on my ranch and beating my cattle and telling them to produce more offsprings for me. They wouldn't be producing more if I beat them every day. Okay, so this is not what it was all about.
No, I know.
Back to my original point, Harriet Tubman said, I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves. People do not realize they are slaves today because they're sitting there watching an ABC, CBS, NBC, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, what's his name with the Blaze.
Glenn Beck.
I don't watch these guys anymore because they are leading us down a road of, hey, everything's fine. All you got to do is get your senator to stand up against this bill.
Yeah, that's all they're doing.
And those mean old people in Congress, Mark Levin, they can't do that because this 10th Amendment doesn't allow them to do this. The 14th Amendment government does not run on limitations. It's an unlimited government. People, wake up and pay attention. Read the first sentence of the 14th Amendment. It says all persons born in this country are citizens of the United States foreign government. That's what that first sentence says. Why are you a citizen of the United States foreign government? I don't know. Do you like what they're doing? I don't.
Well, I don't like what they're doing.
I got out.
But you know, the thing is as Diet Joke in Australia said, the topic is supposed to be the Constitution and judicial issues. And, oh boy, I'm not going to pronounce this right again. Justinus said that he won his court case. It was a done deal. It was oral law. Urban Psychosis Bob said, thank you, Thomas. I thought that I was awake, but you really kicked me in the head. And then Diet Joke came back and said that Martin Luther King, and this is in the chat room, that Martin Luther King Jr.'s comment in his famous letter from the Birmingham jail was, quote, "One has not only a legal but a moral responsibility to obey just laws. Conversely, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws."
Well, bless his heart. Martin Luther King was a very smart man, okay? And he was also, I'm not going to get into what else he was because it's a lot of people don't know the true history behind him. But if you're a citizen of the United States, you will obey. What did the guy do a while ago? He was going to self-arrest himself. And who showed up in front of his house?
4 cars, each with 1 U.S. Marshals and
Right.
1 FBI agent with a VIP that we don't know who he is.
He was going to go turn himself in, and these guys showed up heavily armed with slave wraps to wrap him up with. This is not, I don't know if Martin Luther King understood, but here's the Founding Fathers government. There's one lawmaker. Guess who that is?
God.
Exactly. And those are the only laws of the people of the several states with a true state nationality or true state citizenship. And there are very few of us that have got this. A friend of mine posted a court case yesterday. His name is Paul. There's a different system of law for the state citizen than there is for the citizen of the United States. I wish I could find that again. I would post it in the chat box here for people to see that. But there are different times in our recent history where the court is saying, people, there are 2 systems of law here. There's this communist system, and then there's the original system. And it's all over the place, but people are too busy watching TV. And you're not going to see any of this stuff on TV.
Oh, no. You're not going to see any of this. In fact, when I was in downtown Sacramento, and oh, my God, thank God I don't live in California on a full-time basis. But when I was in downtown Sacramento, waiting to go back to see Gary at the 5:45 visitation hour, I saw this young man walking in front of me, and he was wearing a yellow shirt, and it turned out that he works for a nonprofit organization that actually help people that are in downtown Sacramento find their way around. If they're looking for a restaurant, if they're looking for a parking garage. And I started walking beside him, and I asked him, I said, where can I go get something to eat? And he said, well, let me show you some places. And I said, well, this is downtown Sacramento, right? He goes, this is called Old Town Sacramento, where the city of Sacramento, California first started. So he's walking me around Old Town Sacramento, and he's showing me some of the history of Old Town Sacramento. And it turned out this man, and I'm going to talk about him more tomorrow, but this young man was in the Army National Guard. His name is Michael. He was in the Army National Guard in California. And it turned out that the young man that joined us later, whose name is Dennis, was also in the National Guard as a corporal. They were both E4s. They were both specialists in the Army National Guard. And Michael told me that he did a tour overseas. And when he came back from overseas, he realized how spoiled American people are. They had become so dumbed down by their TV, by their video games, by their iPhones, that they are not participating in life at all. They are not involving themselves with what is really going on that really matters. And he was so disillusioned. He said, I went overseas. Friends of mine died overseas. And he says, I come back here and I realize that the American people are so dumbed down. They are so lazy. They are so apathetic to what is going on. He says it really depresses many of us that come back from serving in uniform to realize that the American people have no understanding of what is happening in this country, that we are losing this country by increments. And he says it makes me feel like my time in service was a waste, because I was there not just defending our shores from not people coming over here and trying to bring war to us over here, But he said, I'm standing for the Constitution, for the right to be able to have freedom of the press and freedom of speech. And they are throwing it away by their apathy. And he took me over to a building. Now get this, Thomas. There is a building that is right there on the corner of the street in Old Town Sacramento. And this building has on it a placard. And this placard reads this. Now, are you ready for this? On the street at the corner of 4th and J, that's J like in Julie, in the street at the corner of 4th and J like in Julie, on August 14, 1850, settlers were confronted by the mayor and the sheriff. The fatalities that took place that day and the very next day ended what was known as the squatters' riots. What happened was there was a mayor by the name of Hardin Bigelow. Now this is in Sacramento, California. Hardin Bigelow, who was the mayor, J.W. Woodland, the assessor, Joseph McKinney, who was the sheriff, decided that they wanted the land that was coming through that area. They wanted to grab up all the land for themselves. This was a corrupt mayor, a corrupt assessor, a corrupt sheriff. Now Bigelow, the mayor, Woodland, the assessor, and McKinney, the sheriff, decided they were going to go after the squatters. And because of what happened, there were many fatalities on both sides. The mayor died, the assessor died, and the sheriff died. Also, one of the people that was homesteading, that they called a squatter, his name was James Maloney. The other was Jesse Morgan, and there were 3 others. So, those 5 homesteaders, or otherwise called squatters, and the mayor, assessor, and sheriff all were fatally killed in the shootout riot that took place. Now, this shows that this was a land grab that was going on back in 1850. Is this not what the Hammonds and the Finnegans and the Bundys and so many ranchers and farmers across this country are standing for here in 2017? Is the illegal land grabs by the BLM and Department of Forestry, when under the Constitution of the United States they have no right to own any land except the District of Columbia and outside the shipping ports. What say you?
Yep, they were talking about the citizen of the United States. And back in those days, everybody had been converted to citizens of the United States, and they knew exactly where they stood in the law.
No, in 1850, my dear friend, according
that was 1850. Yeah,
yes,
this is about
before it became a state.
Yeah, this is about when all this communism and socialism and Marxism took over, right after Karl Marx wrote that Communist Manifesto.
In 1848, he wrote that.
Right. And this was in 1850.
Yep.
Yep. It unleashed just tyrants all over the place.
Well, this is what's making me, I'm so frustrated, Thomas, because I'm sitting here thinking I served my country in uniform for 35 years. I went in 1974. I got out in 2015. I served my country. I did active duty. I did Army Reserve. I did Army National Guard in 2 different states of the Union. I went back and did Army National Guard and Reserve and then active duty again, and then back to the Reserve. 35 years of my life thinking that I was serving my country and the Constitution. And now I'm realizing that I was betrayed. I was lied to. I don't know what's wrong with the American people out there.
You get it now, though, right?
Oh, yes, I do.
Do you understand the 1867 Reconstruction Act of 1867, right after the Civil War, so-called Civil War, which was not a civil war, by the way?
I don't understand it that well. Can you explain it? We've got another less than 10 minutes to go.
They rode roughshod over the South and burned it to the waterline. Does this sound familiar, like what we're doing in other countries? We're reconstructing these other countries with our young military men and women. We're reconstructing these other countries just the way America was reconstructed. They're spreading democracy. They're not spreading republicanism of the founding fathers, which every man was a king or equal to the king. They're spreading their despotism and just, I had friends that were in Vietnam and they told me, guys, we wiped out whole villages, men, women, children, pigs, dogs, chickens, cats, goats, everything. We were following orders, and these guys caught on. And one of my guys that worked for me, he just passed away a while back. He was, he did, I lost count how many tours, 4 tours in Nam. He said it was totally insane. After he caught on, he couldn't hardly live with himself. He was telling everybody it's a total sham. The whole military system is a total sham. We're just wiping out countries to reconstruct them in the view of the New World Order. So if anything, we need to be talking to these. I told my son we were going to have it out. He was going to have 2 black eyes if he joined the military, because I totally understand what they're doing. And he's had a change of heart, and he's listened to me a lot about what this military is doing all over the country. I mean, all over the globe. It's totally insane. And it's sad that they keep you so busy and your mind so distracted. You think you keep hearing this. I'm doing this for my country. No, you're doing this for somebody else's gain.
Yes.
Your friends died. Your brothers and sisters died over there, and I understand the camaraderie when you're being shot at. How close you become with somebody right next to you in the same foxhole.
Well, what was it that Kissinger said? Henry Kissinger, right? He said that military men, and I quote him, are dumb animals that are just there to serve the public policy.
Yep.
Military men and women, folks, military men and women are just dumb animals there to serve the public policy.
Yep.
And that has nothing to do with his being a Democrat, but he was a Democrat, by the way.
No, he's a Jesuit Jew. I mean, this guy is the worst form of Jew on earth. This is one of these. He's not a good person. He is evil.
Be careful to use the word
he's
Jew.
One of these,
I have friends that are Jewish.
He's one of these Marxists which operate. I don't know if you understand Marxism, but it operates in stealth mode most of the time. How long did it take us to find out Kissinger said that? 30, 40 years?
Yeah.
It finally got out. Yeah, these guys don't say this stuff in public. The things they don't say in public could fill domed stadiums. The gigabytes of information that they have said about us, called us everything but good human beings. We're feeders. We're lower than pond scum. We're worthless. Blah, 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 on and on and on. Yeah, I read one of those quotes he said about the military being lesser, subhuman. I can't recall exactly what he said, but I was like, wow, it doesn't surprise me.
Now, what I would like to do at the end of the show here real quick, I do want to mention again, the Bundy women were up yesterday talking about the courtroom as observers and what happened. It's on my Facebook page. And I want to let people know, if you want to help out, and this is one thing that Thomas and I want you to know. First of all, you can help by studying up on the 14th Amendment. Women are asking for you to send a letter of concern to Jeff Sessions immediately. It's in the chat room. I put it in the chat room already. I'll do it again. But you need to send a letter of concern to Jeff Sessions at www.justice.gov/contact, CONTACT dash like a minus sign US, or call the Department of Justice comment line. Call them at 202-353-1555. That's 202-353-1555. Please always be respectful and inform him of the constitutional violations taking place in the federal courtroom. You can also call or email the local news media and see if they will show up to cover the trial this week. We will include a list of violations that you can copy and paste if you like. Channel 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is KLAS TV. That's Kilo Lima Alpha Sierra. Kilo Lima Alpha Sierra. Channel 8 TV, KLAS, their phone number is as follows: 702-792-8888. That's 4 8s. Area code 702-792-8888. Send them a message or go to www.lasvegas.now.com. Again, go to www.lasvegas.now.com. www.lasvegas.now.com, and send them a message. If you want to contact the Judicial Watch, you can message them on Facebook or call them, the Judicial Watch, message them on Facebook or call them at 202-464-5172. That's 202-464-5172. The HTTP www is roadsideamerica.com /story/30290, and it contains a picture of the plaque. Okay, folks? I hear you typing, Thomas. Are you in the chat room?
Yep, that was me.
Okay.
I had it muted, then I took it off mute. Guys, there's nothing else to talk about except restoring our true American form of government the founding fathers left us. If you want to, if you don't like Facebook, I'm sorry, but if you'll friend me on Facebook, I guarantee you'll never see any nonsense.
Yes, in answer to your question, that is me.
Okay, you have your friend request set to not available, okay? So you have to send me a friend request. I clicked a like button on your page.
Oh, so did you really?
Yeah, you can send me a friend request, but I can't send you a friend request because you have it undisclosed.
What do you mean I have it undisclosed?
No one can send you a friend request on your Facebook page.
Oh, really?
Right. Yeah, you have to go in there and fix it. But
okay,
if
I'm looking at it right now, public, friends accept or more.
We can talk about this after the show, and right now is not the time.
Okay.
But you can send me a friend request as soon as you get off the show. And but guys, if you want to know, I put my Facebook link on there. If you want to understand the restoration of our true American form of government that is run by God, the one and only lawmaker, contact me. I don't talk about this goofy political crap. Guys, we've got to change the conversation. If we do not change the conversation, Jeff Sessions is another part of this communist government. If you want to contact the guy, good luck getting your letter thrown in a trash can, because everybody I talk to, they're never getting anything back. We're teaching people how to restore their true state nationality and give back to government documents. This whole 14th Amendment government is running on contracts. It's nothing like the real American government. So there's my link up there. If you want to send me a message and a friend request on Facebook, and we'll get this thing going. One of the guys on here said,
Thank
you there, Thomas.
Oh, you mean them little root weevils that crawl around popping off cameras in your face?
Those root weevils write history. Many of you know that quote by Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. Well, you can, and Event Horizons will give you those truths. So when you're mad as hell and not going to take it anymore from that memorable senior network, you'll know just what to do. We will draw you in and become your news addiction at Event Horizons. Join us Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Time at freedomslips.com at Revolution Radio. Our world team members are Dennis Fetcho, John Ilias, David Dunger, Hyla Cass, MD, Melanie Bridgeton, Jim Mars, Paula Harris, John Trallo, Maria Payan, Christopher Husser, DODDS, Jonathan Orchard, and me, your anchor, Dr. Robin Falco.
If you decide not to volunteer, it will not be held against you in any way.
Sounds dangerous.
It is. Very dangerous.
Count me in.
And that's right here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, where information never sleeps.
Anti-aircraft guns went into action against unidentified aircraft in the Los Angeles area shortly after 3 a.m. Pacific Wartime this morning.
We are far stronger than we were 10 weeks ago.
Zero corners, all hands on your battle stations.
Be nervous, count your toes. I'll do the mastermind around here.
You who have not seen it do not know what hell looks like from the top.
Bam! Check it out every Tuesday and Saturday on Revolution Radio. It's a double dose of the internationally recognized renegade military historian Douglas Dietrich.
You'll stay right where you are until I tell you to move out.
Yeah, that's right. Tuesdays from 10 to midnight Eastern Time. Join Douglas Dietrich as he exposes the truth in hidden history on his show Critical Omissions. And then our human weapon of mass destruction is back once again to take your calls on Saturday Night Firing Lines. Both from 10 to 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Only on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com.
Is your data safe? Do you have the necessary information to assist you in confidently living through just about any survival situation? Is survival and gardening, off-grid living, medical knowledge, or even natural or man-made EMPs on your list of personal concerns? Do you have your documents and your personal information in a safe place in your hands where you know where it is? Well, check out our preloaded EMP-proof thumb drive. Over 3 gigs of survival documents and how-tos, plus the USDA offline food preservation website, and much, much more, including a surprise bonus we just can't tell you about here. With plenty of room left over to store your most important documents. Imagine if a megavirus or a computer failure took out your bank, or all the banks for that matter. Are your banking records safe in your hands? So when they get things fixed and repaired, you can say, hey, look, this is what I had. You have it. I want it back. Is your personal data safe? Family records, addresses, phone numbers? Well, squeeze on over to freedomslips.com. Yes, that's www.freedomslips.com. Click the banner on the homepage for the EMP-proof bullet drive to get the full scoop of everything that we offer. So, folks, keep your data safe for your peace of mind. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Revolution Radio proudly presents, live from the heart of the Blue Ridge, Roanoke, Virginia. It's the Just Bernard Show with host Bernard Alvarez. Join Bernard as he shares topics that reveal the real Matrix.